The garage smelled of oil, metal, and late-night coffee. Ethan, a humble mechanic known for fixing cars no one else could, was covered in grease when a sleek black limousine stopped outside his workshop. Out stepped Veronica Heltha, youngest billionaire CEO in the city, the kind who made headlines for her icy confidence and untouchable reputation. Everyone in the neighborhood froze. What could someone like her possibly want in a small-town repair shop? She walked straight toward Ethan, heels clicking on the concrete floor. He barely had time to wipe his hands before she grabbed his collar, her eyes burning with something no one could quite read. "Kiss me. 5 minutes," she said quietly. The entire workshop went silent. The crew thought it was a joke, a prank, maybe a scene from some hidden camera show. But Veronica didn't blink. Her voice didn't shake. Ethan stood there, stunned. He'd repaired her car once before, years ago, when she was just a struggling entrepreneur with a broken-down sedan and big dreams. But now, she was the billionaire who ruled entire industries, and for some reason, she wanted him. As the seconds ticked by, no one dared to move. The workers whispered, cameras peeked from corners, and the city's most powerful woman waited, her hand still gripping the mechanic's collar. Ethan's heart raced. Was this business, or something else entirely? No one in that room could guess that what would happen next would change both their lives forever. Ethan's mind spun as he looked into Veronica's steady eyes. The woman everyone saw on magazine covers, the ruthless billionaire CEO of Hale Industries, stood inches away, waiting for an answer that made no sense. The sound of tools dropping and whispered gasps filled the air. His crew didn't know whether to laugh or leave, but Ethan could tell from her expression that this wasn't a game. There was something desperate behind her calm tone, something she was trying hard to hide. He slowly stepped back, trying to catch his breath. "Miss Hale," he said carefully, "I think there's been a misunderstanding." But she didn't move. Her voice softened, almost trembling. "Please, Ethan, just trust me." 5 minutes. The moment stretched endlessly. He remembered their first meeting years ago when her car had broken down outside town, and she'd sat on the curb in tears, talking about her dream of starting her own company. He had handed her a bottle of water and told her not to give up. Now she stood before him, a billionaire surrounded by rumors of hostile takeovers, lawsuits, and betrayals inside her company. Ethan glanced at the tinted windows of her limo, noticing a dark figure inside watching closely. Something about this felt dangerous, like he had stepped into someone else's story without warning. Why him? Why now? The tension in the room thickened as Veronica's hand dropped slowly from his collar. She whispered something that only he could hear, something that made his heart stop cold. Ethan froze as her whisper echoed in his ears. "Someone's watching us. Pretend you know me." His breath caught. He looked again toward the limo. Its tinted glass revealed nothing, but he could feel the weight of unseen eyes. Veronica's hand trembled slightly, though she masked it with her usual calm. For the first time, Ethan saw not the powerful CEO the world admired, but a woman cornered by something bigger than pride or reputation. He nodded slowly, playing along though he didn't understand. "All right," he murmured, keeping his voice low. "But you need to tell me what's going on." She gave a faint smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Not here," she said. "They'll hear everything." Minutes later, she slipped him a small folded note before walking out, her heels echoing down the street like a countdown. The workers stared at Ethan, still buzzing about what they'd seen. Some thought it was a publicity stunt, others joked she might have fallen for the mechanic who once fixed her dreams. But Ethan knew better. There was fear in her voice. That night, he opened the note under the dim light of his kitchen. It read, "I need your help. Don't trust anyone from Hale Industries. They think you have something I need." His hands tightened around the paper. What could he possibly have that a billionaire wanted? Outside, headlights flashed across his window, pausing for a moment too long. The same black limo from earlier. The game, whatever it was, had just begun. Ethan's pulse quickened as he stared through the window. The black limo idled across the street, engine humming low like a warning. He slipped the note into his pocket and turned off the lights, hoping whoever was inside couldn't see him. His phone buzzed a message from an unknown number. Asterisk, "She's in danger. So are you. Meet her where it all began." Asterisk, he knew what that meant, the old service station outside the city, where Veronica's car had first broken down years ago. His gut told him to stay out of it, but something stronger pushed him to go. Maybe it was the memory of her eyes, that day-tired human, not the mask she wore for the world. By the time Ethan reached the station, the night was thick with fog. A single car sat under the broken sign, its headlights dim. Veronica stepped out, dressed in plain clothes, her usual confidence replaced by exhaustion. "They took everything," she whispered. "My company, my files, my name. They think you have the backup drive I gave you years ago." Ethan's mind raced. He remembered fixing her laptop long before she was famous. She'd asked him to save a file that wouldn't open. Could that be what this was about? Before he could speak, a second set of headlights cut through the fog. Two dark SUVs pulled in fast, doors flying open. Men in suits stepped out, surrounding them. Veronica grabbed his hand, her voice shaking now. "Ethan, whatever happens, don't let them get that drive." The fog thickened as the men surrounded them, their silhouettes sharp against the flickering headlights. Ethan's grip on Veronica's hand tightened. What do they want from you? He whispered. She didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on the man stepping out of the SUV. He was tall, calm, and wore a familiar silver tie pin, shaped like Hale Industries' logo. Hello, Veronica, the man said smoothly. You always did underestimate me. Ethan recognized the voice. It was Adrian Cole, her company's chief financial officer, the one the media had called her most trusted partner. His smile was thin. You shouldn't have brought the mechanic. Now he's part of it too. Ethan's chest tightened. I don't know anything about your files, he said, but Adrian chuckled. Oh, you do? You just don't realize it. He motioned to one of the men, who stepped forward holding a tablet. On the screen was a photo of Ethan's garage, with a secret compartment beneath the floor revealed. Ethan's mind spun. That compartment had been sealed years ago, before he even owned the place. How did you? He started, but Adrian cut him off. Veronica used you. That laptop backup she asked you to fix, it wasn't just company data. It was evidence. She hid everything with you because no one would suspect a mechanic. Veronica's voice trembled. Adrian, you destroyed lives for money. He smiled coldly. And you'll lose yours for the same reason. Before anyone could move, the sound of approaching sirens sliced through the air. Veronica turned to Ethan, her face pale. It's not the police, she whispered. It's them. The wail of sirens grew louder, bouncing off the empty gas station walls. Ethan's heart pounded as the dark SUVs shifted into formation. Veronica's voice was barely a whisper. They're from the board's private security, Adrian called them. The air crackled with tension. Adrian turned to his men. Take them both. I'll handle the rest. But before they could move, Ethan darted toward the garage door, pulling Veronica with him. Bullets weren't flying. This was intimidation, control. He slammed the side door shut and locked it with a wrench. There's a back way, he said, leading her toward the old office. The lights flickered, and in the chaos, Veronica stumbled, clutching her side. You can't let them find that drive, she gasped. Ethan pulled open an old drawer, revealing a dusty hard drive marked with a faded H. He stared at it, so small, yet powerful enough to destroy an empire. What's on it? He asked. Veronica looked up, her eyes filled with both fear and relief. Proof. Adrian's been laundering billions through our charities. This will clear my name. Mondruan has. Adrian's voice thundered outside. You can't run forever, Veronica. Ethan took a deep breath, made a split-second decision, and handed her his phone. Go live, he said. She hesitated, then hit the button. The security lights flared as the world went silent, watching the billionaire CEO expose her own company in real time. But just as Adrian was cornered, one of his men pulled off his earpiece and whispered urgently, Sir, there's another backup. Adrian froze. Ethan turned toward Veronica, confused. She smiled faintly. Not everything I said was a lie. Adrian's expression shifted from confidence to panic as the live feed spread across the internet. The truth was out, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. The evidence Veronica had hidden in multiple backups exposed everything: his fraud, the fake charities, and the corruption buried deep within Hale Industries. Within minutes, news outlets picked up the stream, and the company's board turned against him. The men who had come to protect him quietly backed away. Realizing their leader had just fallen, Veronica lowered the phone, her hands trembling. For the first time, Ethan saw her smile, not the perfect, polished one from magazine covers, but a genuine, tired smile of relief. You saved me again, she said softly. He shook his head. No, you saved yourself. I just helped you find the courage. When the real police arrived, everything was chaos. Adrian was taken away, and Veronica gave her statement, making sure Ethan's name was cleared. The old garage that had once smelled of grease and gasoline was now the unlikely ground zero of a corporate revolution. Weeks later, she returned, not in a limo this time, but in a pickup. Wearing jeans and a quiet peace on her face, she offered Ethan a job overseeing Hale Industries' new community repair program, helping local workers rebuild their lives. He smiled, wiping his hands on his old rag. Only if I still get to fix cars. Veronica laughed, the sound warm and free. Deal, she said. And this time, it wasn't business, it was something real.